こんにちは皆さん、キッザプルーザにようこそ。
Hello everyone and welcome to Gitsapalooza. I'm here today to play my son Carl.
Hello.
And Carl will be running his Ito clan and I will be running my Tengu. We are playing Ryodo at 100 rice. So we've got 3 4-inch zones of control with scenario points accumulating and then being scored on 2 and on 4 and on 6. So it's a 6-turn game. And the points will reset on after scoring. So on turn 3 and the beginning of turn 5, we will be at 0 points. So it's I like these actually because it's a little harder to get totally away from your opponent. You know, some games if you don't reset, you can the points can kind of get away from you, and you end up with a very one-sided game if somebody gets out ahead early. But with them resetting each time, I find it generates more interesting games. So there we are. Looks good. I like the winter board. We're going to be adding some things to it. We've got, if you saw the unboxing video, we've got 2 Minka A's from TT Combat. These are basically small houses. And we will be adding one of those to the winter scenery, probably along with some fencing and some cut wood. So it'll make the winter boards more interesting. So I'm excited and looking forward to doing that. But for the time being, Carl's going to try to kick my butt in Bushido, which he has done many times before. So I will be back in a moment with the armies. Here is 100 rice worth of Tengu. We start out with Ryodo, the big samurai bird in the back on the left. Then Buzenbo, his brother, on the right. I don't know if they're actually related, but you know, I mean brother in a military sense. And then we've got Chirobo in the lower left. We've got Sanjakubo. And then next to him is Ryodo, who is an 8-point owl and a steel at 8 points. And then a kami of the strong west wind. So this is kind of an archery list. Now, granted, I don't have a lot of the scout archer guys. I don't have any of those. But you have Buzenbo and you have Chirobo, and then you have Sanjakubo, who has got like a magic lightning spell that he call lightning that he throws around. So we got 3 archers, 1 big fighter, and Buzenbo's not bad in combat either, but he's not Hokibo, who is just a god. But it should be an interesting little list. I've got this Kami of the Strong West Wind for A, accelerating the birds, and B, pushing people off of objectives with his... he's also got a ranged attack, by the way. But it doesn't do any damage, but it moves people back an inch. So if you want to scoot somebody off of an objective, especially these smaller ones like these 4 inches, he's a handy little guy. And then on top of this, oh, I'll have to go find one. I have Gorinto. And then I'm thinking that probably Hotai's coin would have been better. But to stay with the birds theme, since I'm doing them right now, I did Fujin's Breath, which is an event I can play, and it will add 1 to the bird's movement until the end phase. So that means most of these birds are moving 5. That'll give them move 6, which means you're looking at a 9-inch charge and a 12-inch charge and a 9-inch run. So a 12-inch charge with Cloudwalk is pretty scary because you can actually charge behind somebody and then land behind them, facing them, as I understand it. So now you're not surprising them from behind, but you're going over them and then landing on your charge. So Cloudwalk is kind of an odd thing, the way it works with zones of control and kind of ignores them and interactions like that. So anyway, there we are. There's the Tengu. As you guys know, I've been kind of struggling to try to make the Tengu work. There's no guarantee that this is going to work because Carl's got his competitive list that he was going to be taking to Adepticon. So they may get their butts handed to them. But you know what? I do love my birds. I don't care whether I figure out how to play them or not. I'm going to keep playing them anyway. And maybe one of these days I'll get them squared away. Certainly GCT and the designers have a lot of confidence in this faction. So, I'm assuming it's just me not being able to put 2 and 2 and getting 4. So we'll keep working at it, and maybe I'll figure it out.
Okay, so this is the Edo faction. It's meant to be pretty competitive. This was going to be my Adepticon list, more or less. So starting from the left is Ishii. That's a pretty simple archer. Masunagi, Yatsumata, Itsunagi, and Chio. The idea here is I've got 3 4-dice fighters. I've given Masunagi a handful of cards, so his net value is actually 21 points at the moment. So I'm using the Lords of Izu theme, and that's really all I got. Yeah, so my plan is run up to my dad as quick as possible and start cutting.
All right, thank you, Carl. We have successfully deployed. I won the deployment roll, so I asked Carl to deploy first. So we'll take a look at Carl's deployment. He is over there with his fancy Mastercrafted Miniatures acrylic token all ready to go. So Yatsumata's on the left, then looks like his archer and his temple bushi, and then the scary Itsunagi and Matsunagi on the right. And then I have deployed kind of in the same general area except on my side of the board. So there's my Garinto right there, so that it's close enough. That should be a pretty good 6-inch range for me to give that one extra key to somebody useful. And then I just kind of lined everybody up. I've got the Kami in base to base with Hokibo so that I can pass on, or Hirobo, sorry. No, it is Hokibo. So I can increase his movement this turn. And everybody else is just kind of hanging out. And of course, Hirobo scouts an inch. So there we go. That's it. We will do our roll for the first turn. So Carl. And I get a 1 and Carl gets a 3. So Carl, you may choose to go first or let me go first.
You can go first.
All right, I can go first. That's how it usually works out. End of turn 1, as eventful as most turn 1s are, we are just positioning. So what I did is I kept myself pretty close to the vest here. As you can see, my whole army is probably in this one, not even 1/4 of the board. I took my friendly objective, and I had Ryodo. Sorry, it's been a while since I played him. Feed some key to Bizenbo there because he is a key sponge. He will take everything he can get and more to make his archery effective. Carl, on the other hand, has kind of moved all over the place. So he's got Itsunagi moving around the right flank. He's got the archer and Yatsumata in the center. And then he's got Matsunagi and... What's the girl? Chio? Chio. So coming around to my right. So... this is very much what it looks like. It's at the moment, it's me holding up and Carl kind of taking the flanks as well as the center. With, of course, he's got 3 4 dice models, so he can do that. He's also really fast, so we'll see how things go, whether I get a chance to take any archery shots or whether I get charged right away and that takes archery out of the question. The cover works for Carl for the most part. It doesn't really help me a lot because at least Yatsumata goes right through it. Chiyo goes right through it. So
She goes right through it.
Oh, and the archer goes right through it. Not that she'll be charging me through cover, I don't think. But anyway, so at the end of turn 1, everything's pretty copacetic. We're just kind of taking our original positions, and we'll see how things go from here. Carl, why don't we do our roll to see who gets first turn? Carl has a good roll. I have a 5, which is normally a good roll, but doesn't help me against a 6. Carl, I assume you want to go first?
I would like to go first.
All right, we will probably see you somewhere in the process of turn 2. I imagine there'll be some entertaining things to show. End of turn 2. Pretty interesting turn. Lots of mucking about, lots of bad dice rolling, and some good dice rolling. So it was pretty much a mix. I started out, it started out with Itsunagi, or with Yatsumata. There we go. Yatsumata charging Buzenbo. The charge went home. Yatsumata did a little bit of damage, but more importantly, put 2 poison 2 markers on my archer, and then, of course, tied him up in combat. And then over here, I countercharged with Hokibo into Matsunagi, who was stunned because of Torobo. Unfortunately, I rolled horribly, even though I outdiced him by like 3 dice. It was ridiculous. But I still managed to lose the combat, and he sidestepped, defensed away, and then he moved around to here. The archer came up and shot my big bird, but rolled like double 1s on the damage roll, even though he rolled pretty high on the... that's right, didn't get that far. Rolled double 1s on the shot. So that didn't anything. Itsunagi moved over to take the middle objective, and I had to do a lot of shenanigans to try to figure out how to free up Buzenbo. So what I did over here is, if you remember, I had my air kami, who was over there. I had him jump over here and shoot Yatsumata while he was in combat with Buzenbo, and I made my archery challenge test. So I actually hit him, and then I rolled to hit him, and I actually hit him, and instead of taking any damage, the snake just gets repositioned 1 inch. So I, in essence, got Buzenbo out of combat by pushing the snake away with the air blast from the kami. And then Buzenbo activated and shot Yatsumata for how much damage, Carl, do you remember?
Like 7.
7 damage. So a lot of damage. Certainly not enough to kill him, but a lot of damage. And then I tried to pile on a little bit by bringing Sanjakubo here in the blue on the left over. And he shot him twice, but I think it did a grand total of 1 point of damage. So how many points does Yatsumata have left?
2.
2 points left. So he's badly wounded, but he's still fully functional, of course, because in Bushido your function doesn't change as it relates to your wounds. There was no point in shooting at Itsunagi. He had run, and he has range defense too, so he adds 3 to any dice roll, and so there was no way to get him there. I brought Ryodo over. I should have cleansed, but instead I healed Buzenbo for 2 points. So he's still got a poison 2 marker on him, but he's doing pretty good. He's got 3 wounds, so he's got 4 left. And then I just brought the kami over. He's in contact with both Buzenbo and Ryodo, so he can boost somebody's movement next turn. And then he took a pot shot at that archer down there and did a couple of points of damage.
3 points of damage.
3 points of damage. So he's probably got 2 left.
Yes.
2 left. So there we go. So Matsunagi is actually could surprise Hokibo. I think he's in my rear arc at this point. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I spent some ki picking up Bizenbo's reload token. So if I get the chance, I could get an opening shot at Yatsumata, for example, or I could take Hokibo over there and turn him and walk into combat with something, so at least I don't get surprised. So we'll see how that goes. Carl, you want to roll again? Points. So we each got 1 point in the first round. Second round, Carl gets 2 for the middle. I get 1 for my friendly. So Carl wins 4-1. Sorry, 4-3 in scenario points. So Carl will get the first victory point. So he's ahead 1-0. And then the scenario points reset. So we are now, for the next victory point, we are 0-0. So let's roll. Carl gets 4. I get a 1. Why can't I win these roll-offs? You have to look through some videos, see how many of these roll-offs I've actually won. So, Carl, I assume you're going to go first?
Yep.
End of turn 3, lots of bloodshed. We're both down major guys. Let me see if I can recant how various and sundry people died. So the turn started off with the big snake Yatsumata walking into combat with both Sanjakubo and Bizenbo. He attacked Sanjakubo first and killed him. And then he attacked Bizenbo, and then Bizenbo did a push defense successfully, which pushed him away. And then I quick picked up my bow and paid to pick up my reload marker, and I shot Yatsumata and killed him. Or no, I didn't shoot Yatsumata and kill him. I take that back. I picked up my reload model and I shot. I didn't have a reload marker. I'd gotten a reload marker. Anyway, I had ammo. I did not have a reload marker. So after I pushed Yatsumata away, I took a pot shot at Itsunagi and killed him. And Itsunagi was where that blue archer is right now. So it was close range and nobody had moved to run. And so I'd managed to do enough damage to kill him. And then the archer shot Hokibo, my big nasty samurai, who you'll notice is now over there in the dead pile, in the back, and did like 5 damage, or did most of his damage anyway. I think it was 5. And then I turned around and tried to walk into combat with Matsunagi and miffed it badly and ended up getting myself killed. And then Matsunagi was able to walk over here close to the enemy circle, and I had Torobo in front of him, and I didn't know what to do with Torobo, and so Ryohobo. So I moved Ryohobo over to the center. The archer walked in combat with Ryohobo and killed him. So then I had to take Torobo and move him over to the center just to wipe that out. So basically, several models died on either side. The Ito lost both Itsunagi and Yatsumata, and I lost Hokibo and Ryohobo and Sanjakubo. So he is left with 1 big fighter left. I am left with 1 big archer, a kami, and a light archer, and he's got 1 big fighter and a light archer. So we'll see what goes on. Right now it's 0-0 for this second turn, so we'll see what happens from this point on. That's it. Let's roll to Carl to see who gets first turn next turn. Carl gets 5, and I get not a 5. So once again, Carl goes first. Okay, we are at the end of turn 4. Nearly everything on both sides is dead. We have one model left. My stuff got poisoned. Everything got poisoned or got killed outright. I'm sorry for not giving you details, but there have been so many deaths that I don't remember what died to what. Except Bazenbo is just a god with a bow. He and the Carl's archer was busy killing Tarobo over here in the center of the table, and then Bazembo hopped up behind him and was able to shoot in combat and kill him. And then I put Bazembo on this objective, which meant Carl had to keep I keep wanting to call him Musashi. Who is he? Matsunagi. Over here. So now he's hidden him here. So we tie the second point. So Carl got the first victory point at 1-0. We both have our, two of our big fighters. Certainly my biggest, but my archer, and then Carl's got a very good 4-dice fighter here. But Carl's still up 1-0. So I have 2 turns to try to kill Matsunagi, and then somehow earn. The problem is Matsunagi's behind the tree. This tree is like the best model in Carl's army. This tree has interfered with more things. It's just unbelievable. So we're saying that if you're on the other side of the main bush of the tree, it blocks line of sight, even if it doesn't quite do that. Because a real tree, for the most part would. We get giant Christmas trees every year. I know, a big Christmas tree will block line of sight. That's what this is. So, so I think right now, so if I come after him, all he has to do is sit there and earn 3 points each time. And if I come after him, then I'm obviously leaving the 3-point objective. So for me, the best case scenario in a tournament would be to sit right where I am and get a 1-0 loss. Because anything I do from this point on could only give me a 2-0 loss and gives me a very small chance of succeeding. Especially, once I kill this guy, the turn ends. Or the game ends as soon as the end of the turn ends. And he's still sitting on the 3-point objective. So yeah, I am not exactly sure how I feel about this. But we're going to try the last 2 turns for giggles. Sorry, there's no good camera angles with this tree right in the way. And see if I can manage to do anything. So at this point, it is at a minimum, I think, a 1-0 victory for the Snakes. But I'm going to take Bazembo and see if I can't cook up something entertaining for the end of the game. So we'll see what happens. All right, folks, so this is the end of turn 5. This is all you get to see because this is all there is. So what I did, Carl just hunkered down and concentrated to get some extra key. I moved forward and used my 2 actions. I moved forward and then I picked up my reload marker. So I only have 1 shot at this, and he is completely behind that tree. So there's nowhere I can move. There's nowhere I could have moved and picked up my reload marker last turn in order to get a shot at him, because the tree is completely blocking him from my line of sight. So the only thing I can do is go for I think a tie is the absolute best I can do. It's the absolute best I can do because neither one of us got 8 points last turn, so he's still up 1-0. So in order to get the tie, I've got to jump Bazembo to here, kill him in 1 shot. And I only get 1 shot because with the second move, I have to go back to Well, let's see. He's up by 1. I guess if I killed him and then moved to here and then took a second shot at him. So theoretically, I could get 2 shots at him because we'll tie. If he's dead and I get this one, then we tie. Because right now he's up by 1 point.
But if you kill me in the first shot and move back to the middle one, then you win a point, and it's an actual tie game.
Yeah. Well, no, because you're only up by 1. So all I need to do is right. Because I'd get the victory point. So I got to run. I got to get to here. I got to shoot him, and then I got to get back. So it's possible. Matsunagi does have 2 armor, but he only has 5 wounds. So that's doable for Buzembo, but I guess we'll find out. All right, now the joke, of course, is that I have not won a roll to go first the whole game. So including the one we didn't do off camera. So now we're going to do this one.
Oh, I thought I won.
No, that was last turn.
Right.
So let's try it again this turn. All right, ready? 3, 3. 3, 5. Yay, I win.
No, that's a 3.
Is that a 3?
That's a 3.
That's a 3. I don't win. All right, let's try it again. 3, 2. So I lost after 3 rolls. So, except, I don't know. Carl, what are you going to do? You going to do anything tricky, or are you just going to hunker down?
It is kind of it's an interesting question, because if I run away, he'll stay alive, but then you'll win. So, the best thing I can do is I'm just going to wait, because there's no place I can go where he can't shoot. There's no place I can go where he can't shoot me. If I move, I lose the points I would need to tie him on the point. And if he kills me, then it's effectively a wash either way. So I'm just gonna stay put and hope I get lucky.
All right. So you know what? I'm gonna set up the tripod here, and I'm just gonna let this run, because this is the game. This comes down to the game. So let me see if I can get the tripod to actually function here. There we go.
So, but I won, so I'm gonna make you go first.
All right, you're gonna make me go first. Okay. So I am going to perform a walk action with Buzembo. So it gets me 5 inches, so I'm going to use that just to get into this gap right here. And now I'm going to take a pot shot.
You need a 5.
So close range -1 for moving is 5, or +1 for moving, whatever you want. I've got 3 dice. I cannot... Oh, wait, let me get that out there. That's my activation. I can't... and I need to... Let me see. Deadeye doesn't do me any good. Quick reload won't do me any good. So and I can't increase my range dice. So it's funny. I don't have anything that I can spend my key on. What do you know? All right. So let's roll it. I'm going to roll it here. I'll move the camera down a little bit so you guys can see the roll. All right, so I need a 5.
Did you roll the 1, or is there one?
No, there's no 1.
I just assumed.
There's a tilted, yeah. So I have a 6. I do have martial archery, so since I get at least a 5, and since that won't do, I'm not going to kill him on a 1 victory, then I'm going to re-roll because I have martial prowess ranged. So I roll a 1, so it doesn't matter. So I hit you on the 0. That does not kill you, and there is, in effect, no point to me.
Can I charge you, though?
Yeah, you can charge me if you want.
So I'm going to try, because...
I have fear 5.
Leadership, because of my traits.
All right, he rolled a 4 the first time, so go ahead and roll again.
No, it's just +1 to my high.
Oh, it's +1. Okay, so 5, so you make it.
No. There you go. Alright, I'm gonna spend 2 key to get myself cleave, 2 key to get myself Cobra Strike. I'll spend 3 key for an extra die, 2 key to get myself cleave.
Alright, I'm gonna spend 3 key on an extra die. So Cobra Strike.
Cleave.
Cleave, what does Cleave do?
Brutal 2.
Brutal 2!
Yeah, that's a good one.
You dirty bugger.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut you bad.
Alright, so I got 2 defense and 2 attack.
5 attack.
My defense comes out to a 6-7. which is as good as I could hope for.
6, 7, 8, but 9, 10, 11. Because I'm if I go all melee, brutal +1. Cleave gives me brutal +2, brutal +3.
Yeah, okay. So why don't you could just add the 3 onto the end rather
9,
than
10,
so it's
10,
6, 7,
11.
8, 9, 10, 11.
So you're 7. So
Right.
On the 4.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I also combo attack 0. I forgot to say it, but on the 4, 9.
-2.
I've got sharp, so -1, and I've got +1 strength, so it's just straight.
So it's a wash.
So 9 on the 4 is 5 damage.
That kills him.
Okay.
All right, so Bazembo's dead. Carl wins. Whee! Carl, famous last words.
This was a really hectic game. I thought I was going to lose about half a dozen times, and I imagine my dad felt the same way. So.
Yeah, I was sure he was going to lose a half a dozen times. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it was like that. It was feast or famine for both of us. It would have helped me to have won some of the mid-term roles. And I did have some questionable plays right off the bat. Putting Bazembo up front was probably dumb. But anyway, it worked out. It was interesting. We both slaughtered each other pretty good. The Winkami earned his kibble just by blowing Yatsumoto off of Bazembo. I mean, that for me was a huge part of the game. Bazembo was deadly for the most part. I mean, he didn't look very impressive here, but
killed 2 25-point models.
Yeah, he killed 2 25-point models, and then the archer. So he took out 3 of Carl's 5 models. So I think if I just get a little better at protecting him and figure out how to use him, it would be a little more useful. So for me, Bazembo was my model of the game. For Carl, the tree was the model of the game.
True.
Carl, what would you say otherwise? What was your most effective model?
I mean, Masunagi, unquestionably. Masunagi one-shot. Masunagi did a bunch of killing. Honestly, out of all my models, the only 2 that actually did anything interesting were the Archer and Masunagi. So, it's a toss-up, but because Masunagi's still alive, and I like him a lot more, Masunagi.
All right, so there you go. Your man of the match right here, Matsunagi Ito, with his fancy new brass horns that were custom built by yours truly, so that they don't constantly break off on Carl. Let me zoom in on the glorious Matsunagi horns right there. Ta-da!
And constantly can't be emphasized enough. Literally every single time the model was touched or placed or stored, broken horns.
Right, but right now he looks good. They're a little bit more sensibly sized than the horns that were on him, and the camera goes crashing to the ground. That's exciting. Ah! Look at the chaos, the carnage. All right, well, that's it. Oh, super zoom. That's not what I intended to do. So from Carl and I, and from Clan Ito, the victors today, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. A little chaotic, but fun nonetheless. So I guess that's it for tonight. We will see you next time on Gitsapalooza.